Welcome to Midnights with the Lizard Wizard, a podcast where Yael Midnight and I, Noel Midnight, listen through the entire King Gizzard discography from start to finish. This week, we have Emma Celeste on as we're listening to King Gizzard's 12th studio album, the prog rock epic Polygondwanaland. Theme music recorded by Beautiful Trainwreck. And we're back. It's another episode of Midnights with the Lizard Wizard. Woo! And this week, holy shit, this is an ambitious week. Before we start, Yael, just real quick, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs middle?
Thumbs up!
Emma, you're our guest today. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs middle.
It is really incredible how you just turn on the host energy like nothing. Absolutely thumbs up. You had me on for the Polymeter album. I'm a fucking drummer. By the way, I'm a fucking drummer. Yeah. I'm here for the fucking rhythm.
So yeah, Emma, tell us about your experience with the band in general. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself so that our audience knows what the hell you're about.
Yeah, tell us about you, and then tell us about what you know about King Giz.
Okay, so I'm Emma Celeste. My pronouns are she and it, and I am a photographer and musician, and also dating you too, but that's not important right now. No. What's important is the music.
No, that's going to be important later after we finish recording.
Exactly. So King Gizzard is one of those bands that has always been on my radar, where people have told me, hey Emma, you're really gonna fucking like King Gizzard. You like weird time signature and music stuff. They get weird with it. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. And I just kept forgetting to check them out. Then out of nowhere, you two decided, hey, we should do a podcast where we listen to every single Giz in chronological order.
Statements made up by the utterly deranged.
So true. And so, like, I have just been absorbing Giz ambiently because you two are working through this project. And
because in order to be a friend of ours, a girlfriend of ours, in order to be around us at all, you are going to soak up some Giz because we cannot talk about anything else anymore.
And also, you just put it on while I'm hanging out here. And that's fun. And that's good.
You have wild opinions, though. You didn't like Flying Microtonal Banana, and, you know, you're just wrong.
I'm okay with being wrong.
Yeah, that's fine.
I am but human, unfortunately.
But big thumbs up for this one.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Before we handed the album to you and said, let's do this, I looked through the credits for this album to find out if there were any microtonal instruments on it.
The thing is, like,
no Zern on here.
The thing is, like, it's not that I'm against microtonality. Right. I just didn't like what they did with Banana specifically.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what you would think listening to something like Tazata or The Book. I guess The Book is what I'm thinking about specifically.
Yeah, from Sketches. But we'll make you listen to that one another time.
You can show me that at some other point. But anyway, I am, to give a little more background, in a previous life, I used to be a drummer for a prog metal band and have played polymeters on stage in front of people before. So I have, a little bit of experience on how fucking weird it is to have your hands playing in 4/4 and your feet playing in 11/8 at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Would not.
It's very fun.
Nope.
It's so fun.
Nope. I'll let you do that, and I will do something else.
Yeah, that's the thing about anyone that's not the drummer. You can do one time signature. I have to do the multiples.
The thing is, I can count to 11, and I can count to 4, but I can't count to 11 and count to 4 at the same time.
I do crochet.
I only have one voice in my head.
I do crochet. I can't count to 11.
That's so fair. That's so fair. So I just want to say my first thoughts about this record, my overall first thoughts were I didn't know what genre to expect going in. Mm-hmm. I knew they were playing with polymeters, but that's about all that I knew. And I don't have a lot of experience with prog rock.
And this is proggy as all hell.
This is very prog.
This is what I imagine all prog rock sounds like. If you told me that Yes sounds like this, I would believe you.
It's a little less driving, like that, like constant driving nature is still incredibly King Giz in a way that
it's krautrock.
Yeah. But like that, but the other stuff, the weird, the instruments coming in and randomly, the time signature stuff. Yeah, that's prog rock.
Yeah.
But you know, King Giz is gonna King Giz it up.
Yeah. And I thought that this record was incredibly ambitious. Even after my first listen, my only thought was, yeah, this is ambitious as fuck. And the more that I've dug into it,
It gets more ambitious the more you listen to it.
it does, especially once you start to dive into the lyrics as well. There's so much happening.
There's so much happening. And here's the thing, like, we have to record this at some point, but you could give me 2 more weeks and I would still be writing more notes. I would still be listening to new things.
Oh, naturally.
There is never going to be a good time to record this episode, so we kind of just have to record it today.
Yeah, this album makes me think of the best metal albums I've heard, where you can go 4 years later, listen to it again, and go, I never knew that thing was layered under there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And this feels like one of those records where I am going to be discovering things about this record in 4 years. And
Which
it's
means you're going to be listening to it again and again because this was a big thumbs up for you too.
This was I wouldn't say a big thumbs up, but definitely a thumbs up. Okay, I did have some issues with this record overall.
Oh.
Okay. Really interested to hear that.
The first issue is that it's so busy.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on.
And because it's so busy, it's harder for me to find one through line to attach to.
See,
The
this is
drums.
why I listen to lyrics all the time.
The drums.
Vocals.
But like something like Rattlesnake, it's straightforward, it's driving, you know what to expect at every turn. And then you get to Crumbling Castle.
Vocals.
The drums.
Okay, let's talk about the vocals on Crumbling Castle. Because it fucking opens with unintelligible vocals.
Disagree. Fully disagree.
They're basically fully unintelligible, that first verse.
Fully disagree. I don't know what to tell you.
That entire segment, meet me glassy-eyed, blind and divine, holding down the fort on the coastline. I would not know what those lyrics were if I hadn't looked them up.
Okay, skill issue?
Okay, fine.
I
There
don't
we
know what to
go.
tell you. Like, skill issue.
The other thing I noticed with vocals right away is that there's no build-up. There's no intro. This is a record that starts when it starts.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah.
It just goes.
Yeah, it's great. And we get the polymeters right from beat 1. Like,
I feel like before we get into all the songs, I should probably, for anyone who doesn't know the difference between polymeter and polyrhythm,
Yeah, let's
get
talk about
into
that.
real quick.
Let's talk
hell
about
yeah,
that.
somebody else's turn to talk about music theory before we actually start. I'm so happy.
Info dump.
So if you were on the internet anywhere in like the last 5 years, while there's been this huge math rock and also this huge gent like surge, you'll have heard the term polyrhythm everywhere. Everyone loves talking about polyrhythms, and half the time they're wrong because they're talking about polymeter. They're two very different things.
Okay, educate me because I'm pretty sure I don't know the difference.
So a polyrhythm is when there's two different rhythms happening within the same meter, within the same bar. So the most classical example is your triplets or your quintuplets. It is putting 3 beats in a space where there should be 2, or putting 5 beats in a space where there should be, 2 or 3 or whatever. It
Okay.
is that everyone in the modern day has heard polyrhythms because trap is popular. The triplet rapping in trap and in a lot of modern rap is polyrhythmic. The ba 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 da 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 da. That is a polyrhythm because you're fitting a different amount of notes within that bar.
okay.
So, like, polyrhythm, all the ones line up, all the downbeats line up.
Yes.
And in polymeter, they keep the same like beat length for
Polymeter is the same pulse, but
Yeah.
you have 2 different meters going on. So you have one instrument doing 4/4, where you have a cycle happening every 4th beat, and you can have a second instrument doing in 5/4, where you have, the beats are the same, but you slowly get desynced across the span of several measures until you come back to the one.
Right.
This album is mostly polymetric, with a lot of polyrhythms in it, but the point is polymeter.
Okay.
Yeah, and the polymeter is the part that really distinguishes this album.
Yes,
primarily,
and it is everywhere. We will get more into it with the different songs, I am sure, but there are parts where like there are two different vocal lines going on where each vocal line is in a different meter, and so you have them slowly desync and resync.
Yeah, it fucking rocks.
I will give Noel a link to a Andrew Huang video that better explains polyrhythm and polymeter than I ever could. So Noel, you're going to have to put that in the show notes now because I said it.
Homework. we love homework, folks, don't we? This show has so much fucking homework.
This show has so much homework.
It is absurd how much homework this show
You
has.
two
What do you
have-
mean I have to listen to an album every single day of my life now?
You two have given yourself so much work for like.
Oh yeah, no, the podcast rules our lives.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
You
I
poor-
get the
You poor
leftovers.
soul. No, you are absolutely the person that is most subjected to us having chosen to do this. It wasn't your choice. You didn't get a veto.
And yet here you are.
Luckily
and
for you, I love weird music shit. That's why I'm here.
It's so true. I mean, honestly, that is. I mean, you and I literally bonded over prog rock. So
Absolutely.
So
So-
let's talk about what this album is about, like the main lyrical themes of this record, because I can dial it back to one word.
I also have one word:
Yeah, let's see through the bricks. What's going on?
colonialism.
Environmentalism.
Colonialism.
Huh.
Colonialism is probably more of what it's talking about, but you see so much environmentalism.
Yeah,
in
there's
it.
definitely environmentalism here. There's environmentalism with everything that King Giz does. I mean, seriously, guys, take a break. We get it. You love the fucking earth.
I'm
we
here
know.
for it.
We fucking know.
Our orb, as it were.
Our orb. We get it.
I'm here for it.
No. The environmentalism is great, and they have legitimately great songs. I love the way that they work environmentalism into all of their music, and there's just so much of it. It's just we've gotten it literally with everything they do. It's great. But to me, no. This is an album about colonialism, especially those first four songs.
Yes.
Okay.
This is an album about colonialism. There are so in this album we've got 10 songs, and I think that they're roughly divided into three sort of semi-separate stories,
That
all
kind
part
of
of the
have a
same
through line?
universe. That you could think about them as one grand connected story, especially the second and third set. But it really. I think that you can think of this album as a universe that has its own mythology, and we've got three stories within that mythology. And this first one that covers Crumbling Castle, Polygondwanaland, The Castle in the Air, and Deserted Dunes, Welcome Weary Feet is a story literally of colonialism.
Yes, it is.
Then we have Inner Cell, Loyalty, and Horology, the Horology Suite. That is a story about like insurrection and revolt, which you could, and I would like to claim that is a revolt related to the colonists who have come to this land of Polygondwanaland. And then the Tetrachromancy Suite at the end, Tetrachromancy, Searching, and the Fourth Color, which is about, it's a little bit less of a narrative than the others. But
It's okay. I'm going to save my thoughts on what I think about the narrative until we get to it. But yeah, it is less of a narrative, isn't it?
So everything I'm hearing is just that this album is the perfect pairing for Colors 2 by Between the Buried and Me.
Tell me more.
Because Colors 2 is about, like, at least the first suite of songs is about, like, you know, a society that has destroyed the world that they live in, and the humanity needs to revolt to you know, fight back against their oppressors and destroy the society that has destroyed the nature around them.
yeah,
Well,
sounds
that's
like
not
I need,
relatable.
sounds like I need to listen to that one. But yeah,
will-
that's the same fucking
I will show you Colors 2 when we're done with this.
hell yeah.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great.
So, yeah, I mean, okay, overall through line, in Crumbling Castle, we're talking about sort of the ruins, the decaying ruins that are being threatened by this rising green goopy water.
Yeah.
That does feel like it fits in with the environmentalism of their previous albums. And there's these bombs that this lightning, and this is a world that is in decay, that's being destroyed. And so we have the colonists setting out from wherever the crumbling castle is, searching for Polygondwanaland. So Polygondwanaland is our colonists setting a plan to travel. The castle in the air, we move into this dream-like vision of this travel, and we start to see the visions of the current inhabitants, the natives of Polygondwanaland, who have many, many different forms, but are certainly different kinds of beings than the ones that are traveling. They are monopods, so one-legged people, and they're cyclopses who have one eye, and all these different kinds of various beings. And we find out in the castle in the air that our protagonists are actually the bad guys. They're the colonists.
I am so glad I have you here to explain this to me, because I'm over here just being like, drum's cool.
Because our colonists are the bad guys, because they're out here and they see this peaceful world of the inhabitants of Polygondwanaland, all living in harmony with one another. And yet they say, but they're all going to go to hell without us. We need to spread our faith.
Gospel.
We need to spread our gospel.
Never heard this one before.
Our colonists are they're also referred to as pilgrims. They're missionaries. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of sort of noble savage kind of idea in the way that in the castle in the air they're talking about Polygondwanaland, and I like to think that that's specifically the way that the colonists are thinking about these inhabitants, rather than like the idea that this is literally the most peaceful, like perfect land of harmony, which seems, I mean, if this is an analogy for colonialism, that just kind of falls apart if it's meant to be the literal truth. But then this is the mission field, right? They want to go and convert and subjugate the people of Polygondwanaland. Then in deserted dunes, welcome weary feet. The natives just sort of watch on as the pilgrims get eaten by dinosaurs. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was my entire notes for the album, just completely gone through.
Sorry, babe.
That's the stuff I wanted to discuss, and it's already done now. So obviously the story, like, it opens up talking about, waters rising up, thick and green, crumbling castle. Now, obviously this is a reference to Hantayumi's vomit.
I mean, yeah. Hantayumi is not on this record, sort of, but also, yes, very much
but
is.
Also definitely
is, and we'll get there we'll get there so many times. Hantayumi is everywhere and yet nowhere in this record.
I would say he's everywhere in this record. I don't think he's nowhere in this record at all. I think he is omnipresent and probably omniscient, and well, you know the rest.
I do, yes. I think that there is a lot going on here where they are very clearly trying to draw references to not just Murder of the Universe and Hantayumi specifically, but a lot of their other albums. This is definitely something they are trying to tie together a bunch of their albums, a bunch of their music into a cohesive narrative, but they're also trying to let you treat them as separate.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Like you don't
definitely need to know about Hantayumi to love this record.
Sure. Hantayumi, the confused cyborg from Murder of the Universe.
Okay.
The one that vomits all over everything.
Okay. Yeah, I did not know about this, and I still enjoyed this record thoroughly.
Yeah, you did. We've shown you Murder of the Universe.
Well, yes, but I am not as read in on the deep lore.
Yeah, no, that's
so fair.
So
and if you're not
fair.
going to listen to the lyrics for this one, which you were doing your homework for, you probably didn't listen to the lyrics super
the one
strongly
that I
for the one
do
that
my
you
homework
didn't
for.
do your homework for, and also didn't like very much.
Yeah.
So I came into this song, and my first thought was, is this about the fallout from Murder of the Universe? The fallout after Hantayumi has destroyed everything. And so now we get to see that, maybe not everything was actually destroyed, and there's like some survivors at this crumbling castle. But I don't think that's accurate.
Or in like a time dilation sense, it's like watching it happen. It is zoomed into a particular moment.
Right.
I don't think it really matters. I mean,
I do.
Well, let me explain why I don't think it matters.
Sure.
I don't think it matters in the same sense of like a lot of Greek mythology is self-inconsistent.
Sure.
If you read Homer, you get one version of the creation of the universe and all of the different Greek gods. And then if you read Hesiod, you get a completely different version. Aphrodite was born one way, but also born a completely different way. These are all within the same mythology system, but they are different. And so if you take the idea of this universe of the Gizverse, these are all just different stories that could be told based on some underlying maybe truth that may actually be, there might be some truth that each of the stories touches or sees a glimpse of, sees from one side but not the other, and so we get different versions of a story that fill in the gaps in completely different ways. So if you see a like, suppose that this is a reality where everything was destroyed in this awful green flood, then you might see one technologically advanced society treat it the way that Murder of the Universe happened, and you might see another more medieval style society treat it like in Crumbling Castle. And there doesn't need to be one fundamental version of it that is true.
No, that's so fair. Like, I can appreciate that. But also, I kind of landed on this being the process of the universe being murdered, which you kind of already touched on.
Yeah, that sort of zoom in on time thing.
Yeah, and then there's the lyric, and a new world will be created. And I think that is Hantayumi's altered plan, to create the world that we then see in Sketches of Brunswick East.
Okay, and we see a lot later on in Polygondwanaland that we'll get to, where you have a ruler that wants to be deified, a ruler that wants to be seen as a god, which is something that we
it's a recurrent theme
that we see on sketches in Tezuka is Hantayumi wants to be a god.
Well, he doesn't want to be a god. He proclaims that he is God, which I don't think that we know enough to know if that is true or not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Is I like to think of each of these as different myths, as different stories, none of which necessarily have a claim to absolute truth.
Yeah.
And I think that trying to weave everything in the Gizverse into one cohesive narrative of first this happened and then that happened and at the same time this other thing happened, I'm starting to lean away from that with the belief that if any of this is literally true in this universe, it is not actually any one of these stories in full.
Sure. No, that makes sense. There's the lyric in verse 4 where they go, the sounds of the constant lightning would be enough to block out the thought of the end of the world. And all I could think about was, this is the Lord of Lightning who has shifted his gaze. Like, this is the Lord of Lightning raining down thunder and lightning on these people as Hantayumi is murdering the universe. Like, this is a full continuation of what we've gotten before.
Sure, I can see that.
And then the next thing that I thought was, holy shit, all of these clean, fast guitar runs are fucking bonkers.
Yeah, and I'm back.
like right at the beginning of the song, 10 seconds in, you get this really cool fast guitar run that's a pretty clean tone that is note for note identical to a run from Vomit Coffin.
Oh,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
and we also get quotes later in the song that are direct from Nonagon.
Yeah.
There is so much going on. There's less quoting material of previous records in this record than
Musically, at least.
Yeah, musically than I would expect, perhaps. But also, we do get some, and it's just Murder had more.
Yeah, for sure.
And we also get a lot of just... There are sounds in a bunch of these songs that I don't think we would hear if it were not for what they've learned on other records.
Like the Mellotron.
But also, and we'll talk about Polygondwanaland after we get done with Crumbling Castle, which is going to be in like 45 minutes, I'm sure.
Of course.
Probably.
But like to me, Polygondwanaland, the song, cannot be made if they're not doing Paper Mache Dream Balloon before that, despite the fact that there's nothing like inherently acoustic and stripped down.
Sure.
It's just there is a lot going on in the folkier vocals and instrumentation in Polygondwanaland that feels like it's them exploring what they've learned making paper mache in a different setting. Later on, we hear narration like we would have directly on Murder of the Universe.
Yep.
But there's
I mean, I think that's
high
something
energy garage rock throughout, right? There's a bunch of stuff throughout this record that is explicitly just, even though this one is the proggy, polymetric, super dense record, they are specifically calling back to sounds that they've used before.
Well, and also a thing I will say about the polymetric, the proggy side, is that this is a testament to how good Giz is, that at no point, well, okay, there is one point in the album where I found the like what I call like the first trap of being polymetric, which is it feels like a measure of music that was just cut short. Like you're stumbling, and I felt like it was done intentionally. Most bands that I've heard that do polymeter for the first time, it feels
Just
like
cut out an eighth note.
feels like they cut out the very last note of a cycle, and so it just feels like you're constantly stumbling, and you can do that to good effect in one part or the other, but it shouldn't be what the entire song or album is. And
Because there's just other more interesting and more complex ways to do polymeter.
Exactly. And Giz did that very well. Like it felt like every phrasing that was in some odd time was that way for a reason. It felt off kilter. It felt, a little dragged out at times, but then every so often they'd like tighten it up, and you when it got to a chorus, when it got to an important lyric, which like the lyrics better, but when it got to those moments where I could tell they're trying to hit an effect, they'll pull it back into something simpler. They'll pull
absolutely.
it into 6/8 or into 4/4, and you'll get just a little cycle of just like really like good, clean rhythm to hit an emphasis before getting weird with it again in a way that never felt forced, with one exception in Polygondwanaland, the song.
So that's something I really like about a lot of metal records too, is that you see metal records that build up and build up and build up, and then there's that one line where that they spent their entire time in the studio going, this is what we want to punch through the entire record.
Yep.
And so everything else has to make space for that. I feel like we got that a few times on this record. One of the big lines later on is my body's not a temple, it is a vessel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's so good. In Searching.
Yeah.
And it just pops out.
One of the few sections I have is in Searching. When it hits that 4/4 section, it just hits. It just
hits
like
so hard.
You have all this complicated stuff going on, and then you just got fucking rock.
Yeah, or at the end of Crumbling Castle when it gets to the breakdown.
Yeah, let's talk about that breakdown for a second, because that is really cool.
That like sludgy part at the end.
Yeah. I think that chorus of yes tells you everything you really need to know about how we feel.
That is directly out of Murder of the Universe.
It is. It absolutely is.
You can tell that that's one of the lessons learned.
Yeah, and yet right before that really sludgy second, we get some of the garagiest shit they've done since 12 Bar Brews.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, like, again, they're doing so much to borrow from everything else that they've done. Again, really justifying our choice to pat ourselves completely on the back for doing everything chronologically.
Well, I mean, honestly, this really is a testament to the process.
Yeah.
Like,
listen to all any band you like, listen to their early stuff, learn how they got there. I would never have told you to do that before we started this project, but it turns out, whoa.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Sufjan, and I view Sufjan's work so differently from most people, because I constantly view his work as, oh, see, right there, that's the point where he did this thing the first time that comes back 3 records later.
Yeah, and it's a similar thing with like Queens of the Stone Age, a band that I'm sure you two are tired of me talking about.
Please do,
but
though.
like, Queens of the Stone Age is stoner rock and stoner metal as it gets. The first couple albums literally has like drug references everywhere. And then you see Josh Homme maturing. You see him going through a near-death experience because, he was getting surgery and didn't tell his surgeon that he was on something before anesthetics.
Oh, no.
And so you then get the albums afterwards where he's having to cope with the fact that, I never thought I'd make it to 40 and I have a kid now.
Yeah.
And I still have this like party, like kind of soul, but I need to stick around for my kid. And so you see a maturing in the music.
Yes.
You've seen him growing as a musician throughout, but there's a very specific point where you see a shift there where he's having to deal with his mortality for the first time. And
my understanding is that King Gizzard ends up doing something similar after Stu's first kid is born. I'm not sure if he has more than one, but after Stu's kid Minty is born, and we get the all major key Butterfly 3000.
Yeah, or Coheed and Cambria did a similar thing with The Color Before the Sound. It was the first album after Claudio's kid was born, and it's an album that I would call major core metal or major scale metal because
Sure.
it's happy and it's him, but it's also him coming to terms with the fact that it's like, I'm now living for someone else.
Yeah.
Seeing a band grow and evolve is a beautiful thing.
The Wonder Years did something similar on their most recent record, The Hum Goes On Forever, where Soupy has a kid now. And all of a sudden, it's not a happy record like some of their previous records are happy records. This is not a happy record. This is a stressed out, exhausted, holy shit, I need to stop singing so many songs about death because it's killing me record.
Yeah, and this is something I also like about listening to a lot of trans musicians is their work before they transition and their work after their transition. It's not necessarily always a happy change in the music, but it is definitely a notable point in their lives.
It's a maturation.
Where the music changes to fit the changing of the person, or the fact that there's one Halsey record that I like at all, and it's her postpartum depression record.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about
King Gizzard again?
That's that sludgy section of Crumbling Castle.
Can we get back to Gizzard?
Please?
I hate you both.
No, you don't.
I don't. I love you both. You're both wonderful. But really?
So if nobody has extra thoughts about the body of Crumbling Castle, I'd like to talk about the video.
I do have one more.
Sure.
Which is, there's a lyric here that is going to come back later.
Yes.
Which is, we have a glassy-eyed prophet.
Yes.
Okay.
And to me, a glassy-eyed prophet has one very, very key in Earth, right, historical precedent.
Isn't that Elijah?
No, it's Homer.
Oh.
Homer, the epic poet of Greek tradition, who I've already referenced, is believed to have been blind.
Okay.
And we see a blind prophet or a glassy-eyed prophet all the time in media. If you've watched the great Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, the Coen brothers adaptation of the Odyssey set in the 1930s American South, you'll see that there's a blind black man on a hand cart on a rail who's the one that prophesies to George Clooney and our main trio about what they're going to experience on their journey, right?
Yeah.
The idea of a blind prophet telling you your future in a semi-cryptic way, that's very, very, very well established in our culture. And so we see this same character serving this same role in Crumbling Castle, who will also return when we get to Tetrachromancy later on.
Yeah. So to talk about the video.
Yeah.
I was expecting more.
Yeah, this isn't their best video.
It looks like a VHS.
It's just a visualizer. Yeah, it has like 90s music visualizer aesthetics.
Yeah, there's one kind of cool thing about the visualizer aspect of it, which is that visualizers do tend to really emphasize the beat of a song.
Yeah.
And here, which beat are you going to emphasize? And sometimes they make choices that wouldn't have been the choices I would have made.
Yeah, but like they'll I notice, the like spirals in the middle will have represented one instrument, whereas the like backgrounds will have represented a different one. And so like as the polymeters are shifting, as like you have the 2 lines or 3 or 4 lines coming in and out, you'll have them changing at different intervals.
Yeah. So it does fit with what the music is doing.
And very clearly pulling from like 80s and 90s, I would say like 80s and 90s fantasy games, with the way that they would bring in like the ASCII art saying King Giz. It felt very like pointed towards, if you grew up playing Ultima.
Yeah.
Or something.
I mean, there's also just a lot of like pure psychedelia in there in the visual where, I mean, clearly you're supposed to be tripping.
Yeah, and there's...
that's what I messed up with.
And there's definitely references. We get like brick patterns that, we've got a crumbling castle made of bricks that are all falling apart.
Sure.
We've got polygonal lines that fit with both the idea of polymeter and Polygondwanaland and also Nonagon Infinity.
I was going to say, they definitely had Nonagons spinning around everywhere there.
They did not.
Were they not
None
nine-sided?
of them were actually Nonagons, to my understanding. I tried to look for them. I may have missed some, and it's very possible that they were there. But they're definitely still trying to get that idea of a polygon, and Nonagons are polygons throughout across. And we also sometimes saw that those lines got really jagged and turned into waveforms.
Sure.
Which this album has a lot of synths going on in there. But
Does it ever?
But unlike a lot of our previous records where we've seen synths, these synths are very bare. They're very raw signals with very pure waveforms. And that's really notable. They haven't really done that before. Everything before has always been a much more designed, synthesized sound, much rawer throughout this entire record.
Interesting. I would not have picked up on that. I guess I don't know enough about synthesis to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love my synthesizers, and I definitely play around with waveforms a lot, and I love an oscilloscope. I love looking at the waveforms.
Yeah.
And just like the synths on this record are very bare bones, raw sounds, the very like traditional 80s synth that sounds like you couldn't make it out of a real like acoustic instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was
raw.
constant callbacks to 80s like production in this whole thing.
Yeah, and that kind of waveform is the really simple, like just a jagged line kind of waveform that is what you would see in the video here as well.
Sure.
So the sort of more complicated the waveform, almost counterintuitively, the more natural sounding the
sound is.
The sound can be, with many exceptions, because also the weirdest sounds you hear will also probably have really fucked up waveforms. But like your basic sawtooth, triangle, square, or sine waves all have a very raw quality to them that don't feel natural.
Sure.
It makes me really sad that I no longer play live, because it was a goal of mine to have to eventually have an oscilloscope on top of my amplifier, because I constantly did things where I would swap from clean to distorted, and seeing the waveform change as I kicked in pedals would have been really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But I no longer do that.
There's a little oscilloscope window on the Korg that I have behind me that we use to record our sting for last episode for sketches.
Oh, that's why it's out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love seeing my waveforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Emma, we found out that we can tune the individual notes on there.
That makes sense.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You piece it together. I don't need to say more.
Yeah, this is the band that does weird microtonal shit. Yeah, I got
it's
it.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
There's one more thing I have to say about Crumbling Castle.
Yeah.
There are some weird crackles in this song. you hear them on the vinyl, you hear them on the digital. About 7-ish minutes in.
To mention that this got recorded directly to tape, right?
Yes.
It could be tape noise.
Yeah, but I remember at one point sitting on the couch with Noelle listening to this record on vinyl, and as soon as those crackles happened, Noelle looked upset and wrote a note down and was like, we're going to have to talk about that on the show.
I don't remember that. So much time has passed since then.
Yeah, that was one of our early listens. That was, I think,
I have
the
lived
first
1,000 lives.
And there are some crackles on here. I went into the masters to check to see, like, okay, is that just a bad pressing that we got on the vinyl? No, it's in the masters. It's on the digital masters. It's on the vinyl masters. It's on the masters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Since it was recorded directly to tape, my assumption would be that it's tape noise.
It could be intentional tape noise. We know they've fucked with tape before.
Yes, and I was going to say it could also be if they are, doing any kind of signal processing before, they could have passed it through a plugin or a pedal that does that.
It's just notable and odd because it really only happens for about a minute and a half in this one song.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I don't really have a good sense of why it would be there intentionally or why it would have been left in if it were unintentional, but it is there and it is in the masters. Mm-hmm. Okay, got to talk about the masters.
Okay, let's talk about the distribution of this record for just a second.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of one of Polygondwanaland's big things, so it's kind of important for us to talk about. So
the idea that this record is free. Let's talk about what free means. In this case, free means that they released the record with a free-to-use license. They basically said, here, it's yours. Go do whatever the fuck you want with it.
They said that they were never going to sell that record. They did come back and sell a very, very limited amount of vinyl pressings a few years later.
Yeah.
But pretty much what happened is they're like, hey, go take this. Go download this. Do whatever you want. Put it on your own CDs. Put it on your own vinyls. Do whatever.
To pull a phrase from the open source community, it's free as in beer. When you're getting free beer, you're getting free beer.
No, no. It's not free as in beer because you can't consume a beer and then sell it to somebody else. What's the phrase free as?
It's normally free as in freedom if you're talking about open source because you can pull it and do whatever, but it's also free as in beer as in like it is just being offered out there.
No, but the phrase that you're looking for is free as in beer versus free as in speech. And this one is free as in speech.
Okay.
In that it can be modified. It can be resold. Mm-hmm. Free as in beer is just you don't have to pay. Free as in speech is you can do whatever the fuck you want. And this one is free as in speech.
Okay. Yeah, and we see that Abicogs is
I'm okay with being wrong.
Abicogs is this person who does a ton of vinyl pressings, does these really cool like little Gator USB drives that have like specific mixes of live sets on them. It's really cool. And they did a vaporwave redo of the entire album.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
which they then, they pressed, they put it out. It's just really cool. There's an 8-bit version going around.
Yeah, there's an 8-bit version. There's a 64-bit version.
I want to see how that one was made.
There's a bunch of other ones, some of which I couldn't listen to because they also fold in other things that the band has done that we haven't gotten to yet.
Interesting.
The band created the official bootlegger program, which is essentially do whatever you want with the albums or the recordings that are part of it. Just if you're going to sell some, also send some to us, send some to the band, and then you're good.
Their vinyl collection must be fucking absurd.
Yeah, no shit. That's got to be fucking awesome. And this was the start of the official bootlegger program.
Yeah.
So you can go on their website, you can download through torrent the master files in .wav format.
They have FLACS.
Not for this one.
Oh, really?
Nope.
Oh, hell no.
They have .wav format as mastered for vinyl, .wav format mastered for digital, and they also have a version mastered for CD, which I downloaded a DDP player specifically so I could check something later on in the record.
Okay.
This morning I downloaded and had to troubleshoot a DDP player just so I could check one thing on this record to see if it was in the CD master.
That's such a pain in the ass.
I
You're
do my
insane.
homework for this show.
Sure. Yeah.
And I didn't, because I planned on actually pressing this to mini disc because I fucking loved mini disc to give to y'all. However, I was stuck doing auto repairs until like 10 p.m. last night. I didn't get to it.
Yeah. Fuck cars.
But so yeah, there's so many different versions of this album, and you can get vinyl pressed by like I don't even know how many different distributors, and
It's so many.
there are many different distribution companies, I guess, or just distributors, I guess, not necessarily companies, that were created specifically to press Polygondwanaland,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Which is great because that's kind of what Giz was getting at. They said, go start your own label. And a lot of people did exactly that, which is just encouraging.
Fucking rocks. And I if
And
you
then the
listen
boot-
to this album, go listen to somebody else's remix of this album.
Yeah. Like
just
definitely
be-
experience it as much as you can.
Right, because that is what the album is meant to be. It's not just meant to be this like official version of it is not the only official version of it.
Send me the 8-bit version at some point.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll do.
The bootlegger program then got expanded a little bit as years went on, where they started releasing live sets. We see that a lot in like 2023, 2024, where they
really start to see that in 2020, 2021 with COVID when they start to be unable to tour.
Yes.
And so they start releasing old sets from 2019. That's where also the Levitation sets come out that we've already talked about on the show.
And you can get like the soundboard stems so that you can mix the record on your own. So if you don't like the mix that Stu did and you think, hey, this record could sound better, feel free to do it better and then press it to vinyl and sell it. Like,
sadly, they do not have the stems for Polygondwanaland.
no.
Because it went to tape.
Yeah. But like, I know Field of Vision was recently remixed and pressed by Fuzz Club, and I want a copy of that so bad. Field of Vision 2025 was recently, they did a full new mix on it, which is supposed to be just incredible.
Of course, we haven't heard any of it.
Sure. And that's the problem. We keep going to record shops and finding these live sets pressed to vinyl, and I just keep going, I want these, but I haven't heard this live set, so I don't know if this is one of the good ones or not.
Yeah. So we should probably start talking about the second song on the album.
We're only 50 minutes in. We're fine. Polygondwanaland, the song, opens with an environmental drone sound, kind of a
we got,
low
like-
drone.
And we got like more wind sounds.
Yeah.
They love their wind sounds, this band.
And then a bass line comes in that, in my opinion, sounds like it is straight out of Sketches. It's just this really cool bass line that's doing really interesting acrobatic stuff. I think we could do that bass line as our sting for this episode.
All right. We'll give it a try.
Oh, that'll be really fun. You'll get to fuck around with like, going back to the zero constantly and like weird time stuff. That's my love right there.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm scared.
Oh, you got this.
But yeah, so that's kind of how the song starts. And then this song has a ton of acoustic guitar in it. You were alluding to Paper Mache just moments ago.
Yeah, there's so much more acoustic instrumentation on this record than I expected at all.
Okay, especially given how Crumbling Castle ends with that giant breakdown. I was like, okay, we're going to get into it now. This is going to be Nonagon and murder territory. And then all of a sudden...
Not just, though. Not just.
And then all of a sudden we get...
Sketches in Paper Mache.
Sketches in Paper Mache.
And we get lyrics that allude to the river.
Yeah.
From Quarters.
I think that's a dubious reference, but yeah.
I think that the entire theme of both of those songs is trust in the river where it will take you.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair.
I think it's pretty deliberate. I don't think that there's like a deep thing about the river. I don't think that it's like a universe connection.
But it's more of like a nod.
But it's definitely, I think, an explicit. Definitely, I think. What am I?
Don't worry about it.
Fucking weasel words, Yael.
Don't worry about it.
Wait, weasel words?
Yeah, weasel words.
words. I've never heard that phrase.
Yeah, because
There's
you didn't go to
no way
school.
you've never heard the phrase
yeah,
weasel
there
words.
is. You didn't go to school.
Okay, but Noel's a wonk.
I don't know what weasel words means.
Weasel words is words that
Yes, maybe, definitely, probably.
words that make it so that what you're saying doesn't have to really be what you're saying, so you can't be wrong.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah. It's defense.
It's what you do when you have a lot of trauma around, Yeah, okay, you're right.
Either
I got it. I'm with
that
you.
or when you're defending, a fascist government.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Most likely.
So yeah, it's a direct allusion to the river. Trust in the river, where it will take you. That's just, you don't necessarily know where you're going, how you're going to get there. There might be obstacles on the way. You just have to trust the process.
Yeah, and there's more in the lyrics. Like this seems to be about our protagonist leaving the castle to try to find this mythical land, Polygondwanaland, which has never before been seen by man.
However, this is where I come in with the rhythm stuff. This is the one part where I felt that off-kilter thing, that
Is it?
polymetric trap. This is the one time where you felt like a section in 7 should have been a section in 8 that was cut short. It felt that stumbling. So it was in the rhythm implying that not everything was what it seemed, that there's something more sinister going on there, because
Which
the lyrics
we are going to get
Yes,
something more sinister in the next song.
The lyrics did the whole thing felt more upbeat, but I kept feeling that stumbling feeling in between the upbeatness,
Yeah.
which, now that y'all have mentioned the environmentalism and the colonialism, very obvious. But you mentioned that you don't know that the protagonist is evil till later on. There's your hint. The hint's
Yeah.
in the rhythm.
And of course,
fucking yeah.
of course, now we know that King Gizzard is pro-colonialism, because why would you write a protagonist that you don't fully support and believe in? Why would your protagonist ever be anything other than someone that fully espouses your personal views and is your stand-in? Why would you ever do that?
Rorschach is a good guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, babe.
The state of media literacy is through the goddamn floor. There's a moment in this song where we get a mellotron flute right around 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. The mellotron flute, gorgeous. I love it. Perfect choice. And then less than 30 seconds later, we get Stu with the actual goddamn flute coming in and playing an actual flute line. And seeing the two juxtaposed against each other is so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I was hearing, because I did notice the synth flute thing, and I wanted to ask you two about that, and if they'd
Better
done
than synth
and if they
mellotron.
well, okay, now I know. I didn't know then because I was listening to this kind of blind, but I was like, have they fucked around with this synthy flute line before? Because it feels like they're calling back to something here. It feels like they're building on something
here. The last
here.
album was pretty mellotron heavy.
Yeah.
And mellotrons are awesome. We love a mellotron. This is a pro mellotron household.
Obviously.
Absolutely.
I will never buy one, though, because they are goddamn expensive.
It's okay. We just need to find a way to get you to play around with one.
Yeah.
No, what we actually need is, Maya's going to move here and finds broken electronics all the time. I just need a broken Mellotron to fix. and also a broken Fender Rhodes to fix, but we'll get to that later.
Monkey paw fucking curls. Jesus. There's a part where they've got the acoustic guitar doing a fun little riff that they then pair with the flute doing the same little riff. Mm-hmm. You do get less of that doubling on this record than what we've seen in the past, but it's still present in a lot of small moments.
Yeah. So do we all need a reminder of what Gondwanaland is?
Yeah, let's get into that.
Gondwanaland is a prehistoric supercontinent. Specifically, Gondwanaland or Gondwana.
Oh! Go on.
Specifically, Gondwanaland, also sometimes known as Gondwana, but Gondwana is also the name of a particular region of India, so a lot of people call it Gondwanaland to separate the two.
Sure.
Gondwanaland is a prehistoric supercontinent that, together with Laurasia, together they formed Pangaea. So you may have heard of Pangaea as the universal supercontinent.
Yes, I'm familiar with Pangaea.
Before the formation of Pangaea, there were two supercontinents, Laurasia and Gondwanaland.
Why am I the one being schooled on geologic history here? Fuck.
Yeah, good question. I would have bet so much money that you would have gotten that literally from having seen the title of the album.
I most of the stuff I studied is more recent than that. Like,
So fair though. I guess this
I
is
mean,
really
it's not
old.
hard. Most of everything is more recent than that.
okay, but there's a lot of history that happened before Pangea formed,
Yeah. So
No.
including an
no.
entire album, apparently.
I mean, no, literally there wasn't history. There was prehistory.
Okay, la chingada.
So the Earth is only 5,000 years old.
Get out.
You're done.
This is your son.
You're done. We're taking the microphone away from you.
On Easter Sunday?
Yes. So specifically, Gondwanaland was the supercontinent that the current continents of South America, Africa, Australia, and some other regions, Antarctica, the Indian subcontinent, all of this was part of Gondwanaland, whereas most of Eurasia and North America were part of the other one, Laurasia.
Yeah.
So remember, colonialism.
Sure.
We have people leaving somewhere else and coming to Polygondwanaland, leaving the Europe and North America of the world, especially the Europe of the world, and going to the global south
Written by Australian band.
to convert people.
I don't have any thoughts about this at all.
Yeah, no, this is a fucking colonialism record.
Yeah. And specifically, it seems like a lot of Christianity in there, too.
You think?
Well, we know that Stu is not a fan of Christianity or of organized religion more broadly.
based.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Based.
So yeah, like it's right there in the text. It's right there. And so in Polygondwanaland, the song, we get a lot of wordplay with polygon, poly for polyrhythm, Gondwanaland, or sometimes known just as Gondwana, just like the real life supercontinent. Polygon, like Gone.
Yeah.
I've got a weird, stupid pet theory in my head that I don't think is actually borne out by reality, that Gondwanaland is the original name of the place that they're going to, but they're the polygons coming from the crumbling castle. And so Polygondwanaland is them taking over Gondwanaland. I think that's silly, but also I kind of believe it in my heart.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this record is there are so many things you can believe in your heart. You
Yeah.
don't have to subscribe to the Gizverse or to whatever. You can just look at it as this epic fantasy where everything is unexplained, and that's okay.
Yeah,
Everything is in
it's-
4/4 if you don't count like a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
It's its own collection of myths.
I'll be honest with you, listening to this record, I never once went, oh, listen to that time signature. That's cool.
I mean,
Never once.
I mean, I did, but like that.
Yeah,
I'm
but that's what
broken.
you do.
I'm broken.
But
Yeah.
what I did was I spent time listening to the lyrics and the melodies and going, oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you two literally saw
Yeah.
me walking to teriyaki, counting to myself, and like snapping on both hands different meters, trying to lock this album in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I was focusing on pretty girls.
That's fine. One of those pretty girls was
Pretty women.
counting and locking in.
That's true. But I was just focused on on you being pretty.
Yay.
In verse 2, we get the narrator describing the effects of climate change with exit snowmelt, Polygon, float on raindrops, Gondwana, it will get hot, Polygon.
Okay. Yes. And we also see snow melting come up later in this album.
Oh, wait, we do?
We do. We see snow melting coming up, specifically the power lines. The UV from the power lines
Right.
melt snow down in the fourth color.
Right.
There's
Okay.
so much going on in this record.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a little bit like Charlie at the bulletin board.
A little bit conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
but also they're like they literally tell us at the start of Crumbling Castle, "Hey, dig too deep into this one. It's there."
Yeah.
They literally say that at the start of Crumbling Castle.
So here for it.
Yeah, no, this is fucking awesome.
So the castle in the air.
Yeah, we get Leia Senior back.
But before we get Leia Senior, we get really cool sequenced arpeggiated synths.
So this one's one that I actually like noted on mine that it felt if it's a section I think about, it felt a lot like On the Run by Pink Floyd.
I don't know that one.
Okay.
Like the
okay.
it very, very strong callback to On the Run by Pink Floyd.
I didn't think of that at the time, but you're absolutely right.
Off of Dark Side of the Moon.
It wouldn't surprise me if this record is alluding to a lot of classic prog rock.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right that a lot of that does feel very much like Dark Side. And, you know, one of the great things about prog is so much of prog is doing this mythiopoeic thing.
And it's built mythology building.
Oh, okay.
But and building on top of, you know, the giants before them.
Yeah.
And sometimes the giants in Polygondwanaland.
Sometimes the giant dinosaurs eating them in Polygondwanaland. But no, it felt very strongly just calling back to Pink Floyd on that one. It felt like, you know, they heard that like arpeggiated like 70s synth specifically, like that very early synth sound. And it's just like that is how we're going to transition.
Yeah, and then we get the narration, and we also get harmonica and acoustic guitar and flute and all of this instrumentation that kind of feels out of the ordinary, but we're in this dreamscape, and it's deliberately separating us from the real of the story into the dream of the story.
So this is a part where, like, because of how I listen to music, I struggled a bit. I could never tell when it's moved into Castle, because for me, like the three songs, that 3-song sequence felt like one big song.
Yeah,
it felt so smooth.
Those first 4 songs are one song, and then the next 3 songs.
Well, at the very least, between Crumbling Castle and Polygondwanaland, you have that like super sludgy section that very strongly to me
breaks
indicates
it up,
True.
Like this is one song and the next one. But Polygondwanaland throughout the rest of the cycle felt like one strong song. Like I was listening to it earlier today with the intention of I want to make sure I know which song is which so I can talk about it, and I completely missed Castle in the Air happening because I just got lost in the music again.
Which is neat and interesting, but also wild to me because of, again, the narration.
Well, yeah, no, I noticed the narration coming in, but for me, that was like, oh, this is Act 2 of the song, not this is
and honestly, you're
song.
so fair for that, and this is something that we see from them again and again. That they've been doing since at minimum Nonagon, but really back to Mind Fuzz.
Yeah, absolutely, because you get the Mind Fuzz suite where it is 4 songs that are meant to be taken as one piece.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's just they've gotten so good at it.
They have.
So the song starts and we get some flute under the narration. It's very sweet and meditative. It feels like floating through a deep dream, which is what's being described. And it talks about the river. You floated down the river. And the river spits out our traveler into a, quote, vast sea larger and bluer than a cloudless sky. And the narrator floats through a dream. This part I find interesting because at no point for the rest of the record do they ever say that he woke up from the dream.
Yes, they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
When?
At the end of the Castle in the Air, they wake up and see that the reality is not what they were dreaming.
Fuck.
Very literally.
Yep, verse 3, you're right. God damn it. See, here I was prepared to be like, the rest of this record is all a dream.
It's all a dream. No.
No, just
it's
the
very
song.
literally like, yeah, for most of the Castle in the Air, it's this
God damn
dream
it.
of these peaceful inhabitants that we're going to take our mission to and convert them because without us, they will go to hell. And then it's waking up and, oh shit, reality is a lot darker than that. And then all of a sudden, dinosaurs.
So I wrote down, after
Which
the
again,
protagonist.
hold on, again, I know, okay. Dinosaurs, Gondwanaland, just saying.
Sure. After our protagonist finds...
dinosaurs are post-Pangea forming, I believe, in the history of time. Anyway, sorry,
the history of time. Our protagonist finds the one-eyed people who are living peacefully with one-legged people and mouthless people and men whose heads grow beneath their shoulders. And then he starts talking about spreading his teachings to alleviate everyone's damnation, which my first notes on that were gross.
Yep.
And lots of colonialism here. Mm-hmm. And I find it interesting that, like, as far as we can tell, these creatures that he has dreamed of are also real. Like, this is a prophetic dream for him. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, oh, I dreamed about something and things happened and you can now interpret the dream. No, this is a prophetic dream.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty cool.
Anyway, looked it up real quick. The formation of Pangaea roughly lines up with the start of the age of the dinosaurs.
Okay, when I just looked it up just now, at the beginning of the Triassic, Pangaea started to split apart again back into Gondwana. And
Well, when they split apart, they have different names than when they like start.
Gondwana gets used before and after.
Really?
Yep.
Jesus Christ, this is what happens when it's been 10 years since I've taken a geology class.
At least
guess.
according to my quick Wikipedia, but I'll admit I am no expert here.
Because, like, yeah, no. Anyways, I can look this up later. It doesn't matter.
Not really.
not
Point
really.
is old geology shit.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's just a good indication of how deep you can dive on this record if you want to.
Yeah.
I personally do
Don't
not
want
want
to.
to go that deep. I
Yeah,
can
because
appreciate it, but
Because you don't believe in the history of time before, like, 6,000 years ago.
no, I didn't used to. Currently, I believe in 7,000 years.
Can we cancel Noel this time?
You're becoming an old Earth creationist 1,000 years at a time. No, you're not a creationist of any kind anymore. Just old Earth, no creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, Deserted Dunes Welcome Weary Feet.
First song written by calves.
It makes sense that if we're going to get a Cavs song, it's going to be on this record.
Yeah, the next 4 songs all have calves as a writer. I'm sorry, the next 5 songs all have calves as a writer.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which we've never seen before.
And Joey's a writer on a bunch of these too, right?
These next several songs, so everything from Deserted Dunes through Tetrachromacy, are all Joey Stu Calves songs.
Okay. And we hear a lot of Joey vocals on this record too,
Yeah.
which I greatly appreciate.
Yeah,
I
we
think,
like Joey.
I think something that Giz is doing really well at this point is figuring out how to break things up sonically. Mm-hmm. So there's never a point in this record where you're getting bored of what you hear.
No.
Because everything is changing so rapidly.
Yes, absolutely.
Deserted Dunes Welcome Weary Feet. It opens with the title of the song, which is something I appreciate. I always appreciate it when a song tells you what it is from the start.
Yeah, it would be hard
Okay.
to not notice this one starting because it tells you.
Yeah. We get
Even though I did not notice this one starting, because, like I said, I'm just like, eyes closed, listening to music, opening my eyes every so often to check, song titles. And what do you mean I missed 2 songs?
Yeah. So here we get our dinosaurs, and we see that the native inhabitants of Polygondwanaland are just kind of watching by cautiously as our pompous pilgrims get eaten by the dinos. It's great.
Yes,
That's what they deserve.
We get the line, nervous natives watch pompous pilgrims, which is
Some great alliteration there.
it's some fuck shit right there. That's what that is. That's some bullshit. I do like alliteration, but come on.
But come on, what? That's great.
This is a pretty simple song lyrically.
Yeah, the lyrics cut out pretty early while the instrumentals continue.
And when the instrumentals continue, it's a ton of synth-driven, arpeggiated lines. There's some really cool bass grooves here. The bass on this whole record is working overtime.
Oh my
yeah,
God, yes.
Absolutely.
Like there's so much interesting stuff from the bass. If
And notably, Lucas is only playing on Horology and the Fourth Color, so is not the primary bassist on this record.
no, but it makes sense when you look at how acrobatic the guitars are, that Stu would then take that acrobaticism, or whomever is playing the guitar, and then translate that over.
Yeah. Yes.
But also, like, the bass lines I kept finding sound really complex, and if you actually break it down, it's not actually that much going on. It's a bunch of like it's a bunch of big hops between notes, but because of how different timbrally the thick low strings and the thin high strings are on a bass, when you jump octaves or when you jump like a ninth or something like that, it sounds so dynamic, and it sounds like there's so much going on because the tones change so dramatically between just, you know, your open root notes and the like melodic stuff that you're putting on top of it.
Yeah.
And you combine that with having it be in 10/8, so like the cycle goes just a little longer than you think it does, and you get that like little extra bounciness at the end of each cycle. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Lyrically, I just want to say about this part of the record that we get something really, really cool, which is we get to see the Pilgrims get
Eaten by the dinos.
eaten by the dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's what they deserve.
Our bodies are tasty morsels. Like, come on.
Fucking love it.
I love it. That's the most metal lyric on the record, I think.
See, I would have figured that when we get to the Caribou, I mean, you were talking about how much you loved the Caribou when it was Murder of the Universe. So I figured you would love the Caribou again.
I love Caribou.
So then I mean,
their coffee's a little too sweet.
oh my God.
But if you order it with like half syrup, Caribou actually makes a decent cup of coffee.
You're not wrong, but we're not in Minnesota.
Hey, we had Caribou coffee growing up in Ohio.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, absolutely we did.
I thought that was a Great Plains thing.
No, we had it in Ohio.
Well, shit.
Yeah, it's all the Midwest.
It's all the Midwest.
I don't have much else to say about Deserted Dunes. I think we covered that
we've
pretty
wrapped
thoroughly.
up the first of the 3 suites at what time mark now?
Hour 13.
Oh, we're doing all right.
We might be out of here before Les Mis ends.
Oh, is that tonight?
No.
Oh.
I mean, when do they start over at the Paramount? Because we're going on Wednesday.
We are going on Wednesday.
So, yeah, it might. I mean, I hope that we're out before they let out, given that we started well early in the day.
It's Sunday. They're doing
No,
two
they're
shows.
doing a matinee. It's true.
Yeah.
If they're already playing.
We might not get out before Les Mis. So Inner Cell we get to, and Inner Cell immediately sounds darker.
Yeah, so now we move into the second of the 3 storylines. So this one, I described the first storyline as the colonialism one. Now we have an insurrection story. And I disagree with at least some of the interpretations I've seen about who's being revolted against.
Okay, tell me more. Because the prevailing theory seems to be that they're revolting against the leader who has positioned himself as a god, a Hantayumi type.
Yeah, I mean, that part is pretty clear and textual. But the question I have for you is, who is they? Who are the ones doing the insurrection?
The Spanish?
So, like, the colonists.
Yes.
I was going to say, it's the British who colonized Australia.
It is, but there are a bunch of colonists for all over the world, and it's not necessarily clear that this is specifically Australia.
So we know that Loyalty had a demo leaked at one point that was leaked as Spanish 2.
Okay.
No, Spanish 2 was Sketches of Brunswick East, babe.
You were
God
talking
damn
about...
it, I'm wrong again. I'm going to cut that out.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
You were talking about...
So my opinion is that while most of what I've seen seems to suggest that it's the pompous pilgrims that are revolting against a native Polygondwanaland despotic government, I don't think so. I think this is set in the future from our first sequence.
Okay.
After the colonists have taken over themselves, I think this is a native uprising against a colonist government.
I think that makes more sense, yes.
I think that makes much more sense. I do think that it could very well be literally Hantayumi if we're taking that route. I think there's a lot of textual evidence to suggest that it could be, but nothing direct.
Yeah.
And it's not clear who's doing revolting. It's also a lot to suggest that this might be a sort of palace coup, an internal thing where
Changing of the guards.
I mean, I think
the
it's
same-
pretty explicit that it's the people who are revolting, given that they're talking about how there's a plague going on and there's the scent of death, and like it's the people revolting because everything has gone to shit in the kingdom.
Yeah, but also it does seem like the people at least in charge of the revolt are people from within the palace. Or at least that they're able to be part of the palace. They are able to infiltrate the inner cell.
So
Okay.
a very like American Revolution type thing where it is just a changing of the guard. It is just like,
Right,
you
we're
know,
not seeing
it is
the Native Americans and the slaves overthrowing the British monarchy. We're seeing
we're seeing,
the,
you know, the
white landowning class.
Yeah. And that is why, you know, one of the reasons why immediately afterwards, you know, the US and Britain just became friends because
Not immediately. There was that whole like War of 1812 thing.
who cares? But like it's because, you know, the people who ended up taking over were the guys who were already in the castle. It's just, you know, they got rid of the king and replaced it with a different guy with a different title.
Yeah.
Well, was a different guy with a different title also evil?
It
George
depends on,
Washington, yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Because by the time we get to chorus 2, they've kind of changed the tone of the song, where it's no longer from under the skin insurrection. Now it's from under the skin the flesh has rotten, and so now there is a rot within the insurrection.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I think that that's a change so much. The from under the skin, like to me, this is suggesting still like the insurrection hasn't necessarily culminated yet in the inner cell. We're still talking about like recruiting the revolt. We're
Right.
talking about beginning this.
I don't know that it's happened yet, but it's certainly alluding to the future.
I don't know that it is. I think it's the same. I think it's still the same moment. I don't think it's the future yet.
I mean, we have
We're
the
just talking about like this cancerous growth of discontent.
Sure, but there is a lyric where they talk about our time has come.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, but that's not like okay, and so the that's not itself saying okay, so the people of the revolt are just as bad, they're awful too.
No, but you get that at the very end of the song where you talk about oblivious that we will keep him in the spire, have found resolve and our own crimes to commit in cold blood as he did his.
Yeah, that's saying we're going to fuck him up the way that he fucked us up.
Or
I took that as we are going to fuck up the people in the same way that he fucked up the people.
yeah, that to me definitely reads as the new guard is continuing the sins of the old guard.
I get that reading. I think that this is we're going to fuck him up. That's what I got.
Interesting.
But I mean, I definitely see that reading. I really like the sort of metaphor of cancer
Sure.
here of the from under the skin, the flesh is rotten, poison has spread through words unsaid, anemic rule. This could be that the body, the kingdom is diseased and the cancer is spreading. It could also even be like, I mean, I guess you've got a point here. Like the chemo is also poison
Yes.
spreading through the body. So, okay, you know what? I retract my disagreement.
Interesting. And there you have it, folks. Change can happen.
Dialectic.
It just shows the loyalty between you two.
There's some really great vocal layering on Inner Cell.
Yes.
I mean, throughout the record, there's some really great vocal layering, but I particularly noted that on Inner Cell.
Yeah.
And I love the imagery of like the plague doctor with the beak stuffed with leaves.
This is a consequence of me being really bad with song titles. I believe it is Inner Cell where I noticed that the two vocal layers are singing two different things in two different meters. So it almost sounds like, and I want to say they're panned. So it almost sounds like you have two different conversations going on at the
Right.
same time with their own rhythm.
a lot like a podcast.
Well, But at least
You're not
you
gonna
know
bother panning this shit.
you're not gonna. We at least somewhat stop to let each other finish a thought. This is two completely different lyrics going at the same time, ignoring each other at their own pace.
It's so
Phasing in and
cool.
out from each other. And this happened a few different times with the vocals, but I believe it is in Inner Cell where you get that really strong. There are two conversations happening. They do not care about each other, but the pulse is the same. They are still in the same story.
Right.
I love this record. Yeah. I really love this record. There's so much going on.
There's so fucking much going on. Are we good to move on to horology?
No, we have loyalty.
Sorry. Are we good to move on to loyalty?
Yeah, I already gave you the segue.
Sorry. Yeah, I just...
Way to fuck that up, Noel.
I'd already scrolled my screen, and I didn't remember having scrolled my screen, so I had loyalty at the top, and so I was like, okay, it's time to scroll past that. Time for... Oh, no.
Way to fuck up.
I tell you, I'm not on my game with this album. I need another 25 listens of this album.
Let's listen to it after this. Well, I need to show you Colors too. But after Colors 2, let's listen to it again after this.
Listen to Gumboot Soup.
We will get to Gumboot Soup today. I am sure of that. Loyalty, my first impression is synths abound.
Yeah, we got a lot more arpeggios and synths. Lyrics don't start for about a minute. So we have a lot of time to play with that texture. We get another bunch of really tightly layered vocals, and
I'm just going to say that the lyric, I am not a man, I am everything, is gender. That's just gender.
It is gender. It's also Hantayumi.
Well, I guess my gender is evil god because I am not a man.
Evil robot vomiting god. Yeah,
I'm here for it.
I think it's pretty safe to say that this song is very directly tied to Hantayumi.
I think that they want to make it clear that at the very least you can read it as Hantayumi, and I even said in my notes, right, this lends credence to that Hantayumi theory where Hantayumi is the god leader being revolted against.
Right.
But it also could be others. And it's not necessarily clear. Even in our world, we see that those with the most power want more, that the only thing higher than a president or a king is a god, and creating a cult of personality is what the most despotic leaders do.
Bless you.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Bless you.
One more time for good measure. Rule of threes, baby.
We also see the lyric, I shall not be moved.
Yes.
Which is such a cool lyric, and I'm sorry, whoever wrote the annotation in Genius, you are missing the point of that lyric. Oh my God.
Right.
Because they talk about, I can't be moved off my throne.
No, this is a lyric about the hardening of your heart.
No, it's not. This is a lyric about Aristotle, the unmoved mover.
Tell me more.
The unmoved mover is what Aristotle referred to.
The problem is, as soon as you say this, I can see the runtime of the show going up by 20 minutes.
Not 20 minutes. This one's a fast one, I promise. The unmoved mover is Aristotle's name for the ultimate cause of everything in the universe. It is an Aristotelian philosophy, metaphysical idea that later philosophers, especially from Christianity and Judaism and Islam, have used as part of their arguments for the existence of God.
Okay.
The unmoved mover is the Greek philosophy idea that essentially gets co-opted by medieval religious theorists to say there must be a God. It's something must have created everything. So when we hear the unmoved mover, that isn't just I am hardening my heart. It's not just I will stay in this position. It is kind of those things as well.
That is being I am the God. I am here.
I am the reason that everything is in existence.
Yeah,
I am not just a God. I am true perspective.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I shall not be moved.
Yeah,
the world moves around me.
I am that which I am. Yes. Like this is a direct reference. Like literally those are the words used by Aristotle. I mean, I guess he would have said it in Greek.
I mean, probably.
And
Who's to know? There's no audio recordings from back then.
that lyric goes straight into the bridge, which is, "Those who try, I will drink their blood."
Which, how could you argue that the other one was the most metal lyric when that exists?
You're right. I mean, you're so right. And I mean, all of verse 2 is also just, it's brilliant. "Traitors will quake at the thought of me. Hang them on a hook. Put them on display. Examples must be made."
Yeah, this is all. Oh, you're coming at the king. You're coming at the god. You don't believe in me? I will fucking show you. Come at me, bitch.
Again,
It's so evil.
gender.
I am worried about you.
On my first
I feel
listen
so
through,
seen by the song.
I am glad I'm on your side.
on the first
Yes.
listen through, I wrote down, "This is the most evil song so far." And that was basically just going off the music. I hadn't heard the lyrics yet.
No, this goes so hard.
Like, this feels like an evil piece of music.
Are you aware of what a Judas cradle is?
I am now. But please,
No. I think it's your turn to describe something for our listeners. Tell us, Noel, what's a Judas cradle?
A Judas cradle is basically a torture device where someone is essentially forced to impale themselves, right?
Yeah, all a Judas cradle is a very pointy stool.
Sure.
But you tie somebody up and you force them to sit anus first on the pointy stool and you don't stop pushing them down.
So it's a lot like Mac's exercise bike.
Gonna let that one hang in the air for a moment. Don't cut out that silence.
That's a reference to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which if you haven't seen it, don't.
And a Judas cradle is a supposed torture device. It's probably not one that was actually really used because a lot of what's going on in this time with torture devices are probably just apocryphal, but supposedly used in the Spanish Inquisition.
Yes.
Also, again, thematically important.
I never expected that.
I don't know much about the Spanish Inquisition. I'll be honest
Well,
with
it's not
you.
something you would have ever expected.
I made
Both
that
of-
joke
both of
10
you?
seconds ago.
Both of you?
Do you want a quick history lesson?
We are at an hour and a half.
Okay, so yes. Basically, in the Middle Ages,
They wanted us to not be Jews anymore.
well, and also they wanted Muslims to not be Muslim anymore. Muslims went into what is now modern day Spain and Portugal, and just took over. Because that's what happens in the Middle Ages is people would just take over different lands. This is what happened. And eventually Spain was like, you know what would be really cool? It'd be really cool if we were Christian again. And so they launched a massive genocide campaign to kill all, the Muslims and the Jews that existed in the Iberian Peninsula called the Spanish Inquisition. Because they were inquiring into, whether they're Christian or not. And if they're not, we're going to make them Christian one way or the other. That's as short as I can make it whilst,
Still being mostly correct.
While still being mostly correct. There's a lot that happened there. And the last thing that punctuated it, the way that they were like, okay, we have finally cleared all the impure people out of Spain. It is 1492. And there's this guy who says that he can get to India across the ocean. The end of the Spanish Inquisition is
the start of the Spanish Inquisition is at the same time because you're confusing the Reconquista with the Inquisition.
Okay.
The Inquisition comes after the Reconquista to sort of clean everything up.
Point being,
1492 is both Columbus and the start of the Inquisition.
okay, I am sorry that I'm slightly incorrect there, but the point is that is a direct reference to the colonialism that Spain undertakes and
Yes,
goes back
sure.
to
Yes,
the
it is.
colonialism of the album.
sorry.
I am sorry that I'm off
No,
by
I-
a couple of years here or there.
Sorry.
I mostly wanted to shit on Columbus, but whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sure.
Sorry. Somebody was a little bit wrong on the internet.
What is with these crimes of treason? I will fight this Inquisition if I have to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And We go a little bit farther. I will draw and quarter all their children. I will put them all on the Judas cradle just to show them a god incarnate.
Yeah, this is pretty violent. And then horology, we get to see the results of that violence.
But not before we get the lyric, no man, no problem. Hantayumi wants to wipe out humanity. I wonder where we've heard about that before.
Well, I mean, I think he wants to murder the universe. I mean,
God,
I guess
it's like he's obsessed.
In Murder of the Universe, I don't think he really wanted to murder the universe. He just wanted to die himself,
right?
Supposedly.
We get a much angrier version of him on this record.
Yeah.
Which goes into the mythology side of things, because every different storyteller mythology gives a slightly different personification to the myths they're telling.
Absolutely.
Yep. So we open horology with a very important first line. Once upon a time. Which, to me, reads as, okay, now we're telling a story. And this story is fictional. But it's important. Does that track for you?
Yeah, it's weird that this one is written as a third-person narrative. Or like the way that it's a third-person narrative. We haven't seen a story told quite this way.
Yeah.
On this album. And then towards the end, it does jump to first person when it's sort of doing the transition into tetrachromacy. But yeah, for a while, we are in this sort of odd kind of story.
Yeah.
And we have a survivor of some sense of this violent counter reformation, counter revolution. This man who is parading his ossuary, his near death, like all bone, he's been blinded, his flesh has been rended from his body, and he is sort of just wandering, trying to survive, because he our insurrectionists lost.
Right, and they've been forever marked for all to see as they've been left to roam without their skin, cauterized and blistering. Okay, you're right, that really wasn't the most metal lyric on the record, and I don't know why I said that.
It gets so much more metal.
It gets so much more metal. I mean, we have someone who is described as a conduit to Satan himself in this song.
Yeah, we have Chort, Abaddon, and Set.
So I'm familiar with Set, and I've heard of Abaddon, but Chort is completely new to me.
Chort is a Slavonic word for devil. Abaddon is a biblical angel of death commanding an army of locusts, and Set is the Egyptian god of disorder and violence.
Yes.
We also have the word eremite here.
Yeah, I was going to turn over to Yael's vocabulary corner for eremite.
A Christian hermit or recluse.
So...
Okay.
Important that it's Christian?
Not in this case. I mean, that's the origin of the word.
Okay.
The origin of the word, it's very specifically Christian. Here, it's clearly not Christian, but we're meant to think of it as an analog for that kind of...
Okay, so in this case, it's almost just like deeply like spiritual or like in touch with the greater thing.
No, I think that it's a lot more Christian coded than that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're not literally Christians, but, we have our missionary colonists, our pompous pilgrims. We have a sense of a particular way of relating to religion, which is inherently Christian. That's what we're supposed to take.
Okay, cool. So they talk about this great hermit dominion that is ruled by a lone eremite who is described as a bringer of an inferno, conduit to Satan himself. So we're describing this leader as being evil,
as being
an evil man.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that he's devoted himself to devils, and he is this like lone worshiper of this fanatical lone worshiper of this evil who seeks only to carry out demonic plans.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Who has this role of power? I think of it sort of like in The Lord of the Rings, you have Saruman in his tower, right? mind driven crazy by the Palantir. And so he's sort of come to worship Sauron, but he has his dominion over all of Isengard from within his spire.
Okay, yes, that actually very much helps me. Like I understand that.
Yeah.
I hope that Emma, as the Lord of the Rings gal around here, I did a good job with that.
It's mostly accurate.
Okay, cool.
That's all I care.
Yeah, mostly is good.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get into the 30 minutes on how one word that you said was technically incorrect.
Okay, but after we finish recording, please let me know.
Sure.
So in the chorus, we hear the story of the insurrection, it seems. Like we hear about seditious bands storming the bastion and getting crushed, like unbeknownst proto-martyrs indoctrinated with impalement. Like they're being crushed and subjected to the Judas cradle.
Yeah, no, we are seeing the aftermath.
And then verse 2 talks about that aftermath of how everyone was left to roam without their skin, forever marked for all to see. And it talks about one who makes a pilgrimage in search of family. And I'm sorry, I'm basically just reading off the lyrics at this point, but the lyrics are so good at actually conveying the story, which I guess is kind of the point of the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Noelle is having a fundamental realization about the way that music works.
I mean, the way that like this kind
The way
of...
that
The way that prog rock narrative lyrics work, maybe, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Why do you think I pay attention to lyrics?
I haven't heard much narrative prog rock, I'll be honest with you. I
And
haven't heard very many narrative records overall.
I keep trying to get you to listen to Coheed and Cambria.
I like Coheed. I like their new record. Their new
Just
record
Noelle
is
doesn't
great.
listen to lyrics.
I just haven't listened to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should. Like I like the lyrics on stuff where I've dug in deep, stuff like Me Without You or Sufjan. Like, yeah, lyrics are good. Lyrics are great. Lyrics are important. I just never get around to them because that requires sitting down with a lyrics sheet and actually putting effort into trying to understand them.
Or just listening.
Or just
No.
listening.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work for me.
I mean, have you tried?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like Reliant K's Forget and Not Slow Down. I know every word of that record and I know it frontwards and backwards. And it wasn't until I got divorced that I realized, oh shit, this is a very explicit divorce record.
Huh.
Wild.
Yeah, because while lyrics are not the first thing I go to, when it's a song that I care about, I will listen to them and I will hear if it is narrative or not. Some songs are not narrative. Some songs are just like kind of vibe. But like, you get even like a dumb example, Danny California.
Sure, tell me more about Danny California.
I mean, it's a story about a girl like going through like, a kind of shitty life.
Okay.
If you listen to it. But
I've never listened to the lyrics of that
or
one.
Hotel California.
Okay, that one I have heard the lyrics too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes a different kind of listening to lyrics to go from, oh, yeah, I can sing along to this, to I'm listening to the lyrics.
Yeah.
It is a different kind of listening to lyrics.
It requires a lot more energy.
It does require more focus, but it is something you can do without a lyrics sheet on this record, I think. The lyric sheet doesn't hurt.
I think
does help.
I have to be able to see the lines and see how they relate to each other and be able to go back and revisit what I've just read in context of the new thing that I've heard.
It does help me to actually have something
It does
written.
help, but I think that you can just focus as you listen.
Yeah,
It
I'm
takes
not
more
very
energy.
good at that.
It takes more energy, but it's there.
Yeah, I'm not very good at that. I think that's an acquired
it's
skill
something
that I
you
haven't
have to
acquired.
train for sure. It's definitely something you have to train.
It is something that
but it's something that's worth training.
When I was in high school and I had those songs that were, the part that got me to realize that was that Californication, By the Way, and Danny California are a trilogy of songs talking about one girl's journey. And it was like learning that and reading that's like, wait, what the fuck? This is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. What do you mean they're telling a story across 3 albums?
That's silly.
Made me actually like listen to it and read the lyrics and like, oh, cool. And just, getting into that more and more.
I do think that there is a line in horology that does support the idea that the rulers that are being insurrected against are our colonists and not necessarily Hantayumi.
Oh, which line is that?
It's the idea of like the aquiline nose.
Where is that one?
That's in verse 1. The lyric is, horrible looking thing he was, cold and terrible, a long and aquiline nose between swelling temples.
Yeah, and not to do a little bit of fictional phrenology here,
Please.
but an aquiline nose is a famously European feature.
Okay.
I've never heard the word aquiline before in my life.
And I mean, you really only hear it in conjunction with the idea of a particular kind of nose.
Okay.
And it's used to describe like a classically handsome white European look.
Okay.
And so you would hear like strong and aquiline to refer to a handsome
Sure.
person's face.
Sure, someone who's really looks maxed.
Yeah, exactly. And so that suggests to me that maybe this isn't Hantayumi, but this could be our visitors from the crumbling castle who have a dominion over Polygondwanaland at this point, because they are they are our sort of analogs for Europeans in this of colonization.
Could be the cult of Antayumi.
Or it could be
followers of him.
Hantayumi made flesh.
Or it could be Hantayumi made flesh. I mean, there are a bunch of different options here. It is an odd phrasing that stood out to me because, well, Hantayumi really doesn't kind of have much of a nose.
No.
Yeah, if they're going for that, like, you know, like Christian colonialist thing, it does make sense that it would be, you know, the death cult based around the death god.
Yeah.
That the people who are in charge are the religious fanatics behind the death cult.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that if there are sides here, that our colonists are more on the side of Hantayumi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an odd line that is pretty easy to treat as throwaway, but sort of stood out to me as this one word has very specific connotation in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Maybe that's just because I think about the way that people have racialized my nose.
Sure.
Understandable.
All right, that's all I have for horology.
I've got quite a bit more.
Please do.
So we get to the point at the kind of the middle of verse 2 where it talks about one specific revolutionary, one specific uprising person. What's the word I'm looking for?
Insurrectionist.
Yeah. One specific insurrectionist who then made a pilgrimage in search of a family, which is hard for him because he's had his eyes gouged out. And so he walks across the land with death, parading his ossuary. I don't know what ossuary means.
An ossuary is an urn that holds human remains, like specifically like ashes. Like that holds like bone remains. So when we think of he's parading his ossuary, he has no flesh left. He's all bone. He is near death. He is parading around his near deathness, his boneness.
Sure. And then he reaches the castle walls where he is told, "Sit down, weary traveler. I am that what you seek." And then whoever this person is from the castle, this deity, this whatever.
I mean, we find out in the next song in Tetrachromacy that this seems to be most likely our same glassy-eyed narrator or glassy-eyed prophesier from Crumbling Castle, or at least someone very similar.
And he tells our traveler, "Lift the veil from your eyes and look beyond the three. Now you know the truth."
Of Tetrachromacy.
And then we go into
Tetrachromacy.
the last suite. And this suite is my favorite of the three by far.
This one is pretty cool, but I gotta say, there's nothing wrong with being colorblind. Stu, you're canceled.
Stu, you're canceled. Yes. Back to the classics.
I finally heard that happen live.
My first thought about Tetrachromacy is, if it weren't for the drums, the intro is very Metallica. The intro to this song just explicitly reminds me of the way that Metallica does their like clean or acoustic openings to songs before the songs break into thrash metal.
Okay.
Yeah, this one starts out really stripped down. We have still the layered vocals, but we really have an emphasis on the vocals and the acoustic guitar as the primary the primary instruments that
Yeah.
are being focused on.
So-
And every single part is at least doubled.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we've talked a lot on this show before about how everything seems to be doubled, but it really isn't everything is doubled. It's something important is doubled. Here, everything is doubled.
Yeah, and it creates this really big feeling where even though we're at kind of a softer section, it still feels absolutely massive.
Yeah. Eventually we get flute and harmonica that aren't doubled. But by the time that those come in, we've already existed in this world for a while.
Yeah.
And we get our glassy-eyed storyteller back to tell us about a truer vision of a fourth color.
A color that cannot be seen by human eyes or even conceptualized by human minds.
It is under blue. It's probably like an ultraviolet UV color.
The farther we get into this suite, the more it alludes to it being about UV, and how it's probably ultraviolet light that we're talking about here.
In which, just a quick commentary, there is someone who is actually tetrachromatic, who is an artist that can see, like has fourth cone, can see colors beyond, in Australia.
Oh, is there?
Yes. So they might have, it might also just have been Stu learning about that and thinking that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
But there is a tetrachromatic Australian artist currently like doing cool things with color. That's like her art is really pretty, but no one else in humanity can see the things that she is creating because she sees the world differently.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I will find the name at some point.
Yeah.
Go on.
So there are birds, there are fish that have four cones. Caribou have four cones.
Yep, and it specifically references caribou eyes later in the song.
Yep. And so this is sight beyond sight. This is seeing things that cannot ordinarily be seen. And specifically, we're told about power lines stretching throughout the land, which again, to me at least, feels very colonialist in nature because the colonists bring the power and modernity. They set up this infrastructure that was
I
not
thought that the
necessarily-
modernity was weird.
Yeah, that isn't necessarily originally what was there in Polygondwanaland, but in order to see, like, okay, yeah, sure, you have power, but now with the ability to see UV, with the ability to see what it's doing, how it's melting the snow, with the ability to see beyond the ordinary sight, now we see the true nature of reality, the true nature of the world, which means essentially seeing all the dark and awful things that come with colonialism. Yes, because of European colonialism, there is modernity as we know it, but that did not come for free.
Sure.
And we have to truly understand what went along with it. And I mean, I can back that up with lyrics from Searching and the Fourth Color. In Searching, we talk about how tetrachromacy is being contrasted with rose-colored glasses, with seeing everything through, through
A filter.
a positive filter specifically. Rose-colored glasses are, first of all, rose is a very opposite color of under blue.
Yes.
Right. Red is the opposite side of the spectrum from blues and violets, but also it's, this positive, saccharine, incorrect and false view of the world. Now with the fourth color, we see beyond our third eye. We see the real fundamental truth, and it's dark and it's wrong, or it's right, but it's bad.
So one thing that I took away from the lyrics is Polygondwanaland this kind of mythical Eden where we can perceive things that we couldn't see before? Is that kind of what's being alluded to? I don't think it is, but that was what I walked away from this song thinking.
I get that, but I think that I like my argument better.
Probably, yeah. I don't have much else to say about tetrachromacy.
Just because I found it, the artist's name is Concetta Antico.
Okay.
Concetta Antico?
Yeah.
Cool.
And she is Australian American and currently living in San Diego, apparently.
Okay.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to check that out after
Yeah,
this.
I'll send y'all more information. You can throw it in the show notes if you want more homework. But, tetrachromacy is a thing that exists in real life. And you seeing it used as a way to talk about seeing the, cursed underbelly of the thing that is supporting modern life is a really cool metaphor.
Yeah, no, the metaphors throughout this album, and especially in this last, I mean, I love it. I love this album because of the way it uses these metaphors. I am sure that my interpretation of all of this as colonialism is only one of many possible interpretations. But like when I started to piece together that that's what this was, at least for me, it helped me enjoy this album even more than I was already enjoying the music of it. Because like there's so much that can be drawn and connected.
Yeah. So searching?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Let's move on to searching. This one continues on the themes from Tetra. Obviously, it's in the same storyline. There's a lot about the desire to see.
Yeah, and we have so this is a song that Cavs does not play on.
Really?
Yeah, but we have
because it opens with percussion.
It opens with some really great alternate percussion, and it's the only song on the album that Cavs doesn't play on. But all of our percussion on this track, we don't have the kit.
It's hand drums,
It's
right?
all hand drums and other alternate percussion that is so good. This entire song is very stripped down. It's dark. It's foreboding. It's anxious, despite the fact that it's not fast.
Right. It matches the feeling of searching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things, rhythmically, this song is one of the biggest sections of 4/4 in the entire album.
Interesting.
This song is one of the biggest sections of this is normal rhythm. This is the rhythm that you are used to from every other pop song in the world. This is 4/4. This is stable. This is a break. Because you're going to need the break for the next song.
Sure.
Yeah. and we have, again, more references to other albums. We have alter being used as an important verb for now the third album in a row.
Yes, where he says, alter me.
Yeah. He wants to be changed. He wants tetrachromacy. And at the end of this song, instead of having doubled vocals like we've seen so much before on this album, we have alternating vocals, which is really trippy.
Up.
It's so fucking trippy. It's so discomforting.
The panning on it?
Yup. And it really kind of feels like all of a sudden we are missing a sense.
Yes.
We are missing a sense of that would be instrumental in. It feels like there's song beyond the song. To me,
Okay.
something that we're missing,
Sure.
and it's just it stands out from the rest of the album. I know Stu has said like we're probably not going to play this one live because it's a boring song.
Oh, I disagree with
I
that.
think
but
I think it's great in the context of the album, and I would love to hear it as part of a suite tetrachromacy into searching into the fourth color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is the lull. This is the it's not that it's boring. This is where you catch your breath.
Yeah,
But they
it's the calm before the
generally
storm.
live.
Yes.
Generally live, they go from. Sorry, I have to catch my breath.
Castle in the air straight into the fourth color.
Castle. No, they go from crumbling castle straight into fourth
That's what
color.
I meant. Crumbling castle straight into the fourth color. That's
Yeah,
what this
that's
was.
what they did for all their symphonic sets. That was what they did when they had that rigid set list that they were doing every night with the symphonies.
Yeah, and that makes sense because those are the two like big songs of the album.
Yeah.
for sure. I guess you know what. And calm before the storm isn't right. It's the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. No. This is like I said. It's where you catch your breath before the last hurrah of the album. You've gone through so much. You have this moment of stability. You have this moment that almost sounds like a normal song.
Yep.
And we spend this entire time in this song searching. We are searching for tetrachromacy. We are searching for the fourth color. And then by the end of the song, we get the lyrics, I've been born again. I see the light. It's in my face. I'm analyzing information. Now I am a god.
Yeah.
And there's just this obsession on this record with wanting to be God.
Yep.
Everybody wants to be God.
Everybody wants to be a
Everybody
god. And-
thinks that they're God.
And even if you are trying to rebel or revolt against somebody else who sees themselves as a god incorrectly and uses that power for evil, that none of us are free from that temptation.
Right. Yeah, none of us are free from sin, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right, which was, again, our themes on Murder of the Universe in all three suites was that power corrupts, and that wanting more than you are sort of allotted to in life is something that will end in destruction, not just for you, but for all of society.
Yes.
That I want to be altered. I want to be an altered beast like you, and it leads to downfall. Obviously Hantayumi, right, wanting to vomit and die, and yet it destroys not just him but the entire universe. It's throughout all of Murder of the Universe, and it comes again here.
Yeah. And then we move into the fourth color, which opens with some super aggressive hi-hats.
Yep.
Which makes me happy. Cavs is back. The guitars are jamming. We see the fourth color.
We have alternating vocals again, even more extreme than we've had before, with each word alternating panned hard left and hard right. Very different vocal timbres. So more of what you were talking about before, Emma, with the vocals. This is intense. This song is there's so much.
There's different vocal parts in each ear. There's a vocal that's doing just a pedal note, which is insane to me.
And we have a vocal doubling as an upper drone.
Really? I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, we have an upper drone, not just the lower one as well. Unless I'm crazy.
Which is possible.
Which is not, would not be the first time.
I'm going to choose to believe you here.
Yeah. When do you hear an upper drone?
Never.
Yeah. And if you're wrong, well, then, I'm sure your audience will tell you.
So the lead guitars on this song, do they remind you of anything else? Because they remind me of the river.
Okay.
Like, all of the lead guitars here make me think about the river. And make me think about quarters specifically. Like, there's something about these guitars.
No. Okay, I'm thinking about it again, and I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is again an example of they've taken the skill that they acquired before, and now they've evolved it, and they've done something new and different with it that's still recognizable.
Yeah. No, I've heard this album referred to as their magnum opus, and I can really see why. This is very much a culmination of everything they've done to this point. This is like this grand cap on everything they've done.
Yeah, it feels like the end of a chapter almost.
Yeah, and I know that they started writing this way earlier, that they were writing this all the way back to Mind Fuzz.
Yeah, and we see it in Bootleg Holiday from Hell.
Right, that they were working on the fourth color specifically. That's what the first thing we hear in Bootleg Holiday from Hell is apparently the fourth color.
Wild.
Absolutely insane. And Crumbling Castle was supposed to be part of Murder of the Universe.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad things worked out the way they did, and it didn't end up fitting on Murder of the Universe.
Oh, yeah.
Because holy shit.
That would have been a very different... It would have been a very different execution, I think.
I feel like it would have to have been, for sure. And the stress patterns of the lyrics on the fourth color don't fit normal stress patterns for those words in English, which adds to the off-kilter feel of this of this song. Everything just feels off. We have so it really leans into that polymetric it feels off by having every other aspect of what they're playing feel off in its own right, especially with the vocals.
Yeah, one of the notes I have for this is that in this song, 6/8 is kind of treated as the home. 6/8 is treated as the calm. You don't even get the calm of 4/4 anymore. You still the like odd time signature as your only break in this chaotic sense. At least how I heard it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about the lyrics on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the results of, having a fourth color.
Believing they have a fourth color.
Yes. He believes the hyperbole.
Yeah.
He thinks he sees. And that is something that I'm not entirely sure whether I believe that he is right.
Yeah, no, like in the reading of this just right now, it really does feel like, the kind of megalomaniac kind of self-aggrandization that anyone who believes themselves to become God can go under. I think I have finally reached this point where I can see this. Like this is a concept that exists. whoever the narrator is, believe I have reached that point and therefore I am superior.
Yes.
And you actually see this reflected directly in the lyrics. In verse 1, he comments, "I walk the streets holy." And by the time you get to verse 2, he's changed it to, "I walk the streets holy supreme." Mm-hmm. Like, there's definitely, like, as the song goes on, the aggrandizement builds.
Yeah.
Yes. And we get the instruments cutting out, and this throws me every single time I hear this.
Oh, yeah.
this song.
Because you think the album's over.
I mentioned this on the walk back from Teriyaki. It's like, I think the song's done, but my hands are full and I can't change the album. And then you two are like, "Are you on Fourth Color?" I'm like, "I don't know." Wait, there's the drums.
And
Yeah.
After this quiet, like, ambient synth thing that's going on for like 30 seconds, it all comes back very Nonagon.
Very Nonagon. It's so Nonagon, high energy, raucousness, super garagey.
I half expected them to go into the Nonagon chorus.
I get it. But we get them just rocking out for a bit, and then, well, it depends on what version of the album you're listening to.
Oh?
Yes.
I have only listened to the streamed version on Apple Music.
So what you haven't heard that we've heard from listening on vinyl is that the very last thing on the record is Hantayumi saying, "Hello."
Hi.
Which is wild. We go from this guy saying, "I believe I'm a god," directly into the character who has positioned himself as God repeatedly, looking down and going, "Hello." Holy shit, what a fucking moment.
So I told you earlier that I downloaded a DPP player, or DDP player, in order to take a look at the CD masters.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see if Hello was in the CD masters.
It's not.
It is not. It is only on the vinyl master.
Okay.
Wild.
Is that, because I haven't heard it, is that a hello as peers or a hello as a you are beneath me?
Hantayumi is a robot and has a very robotic voice.
So
It
it's
is
kind of
text
up
to
for
speech.
interpretation.
It is text to speech.
Well, I am asking for y'all's interpretation.
My
Well,
interpretation
that
is it is like this person is down on earth and believes himself to be a god. And then what I hear is a giant voice from the sky looking down and saying, "Hello."
I
As
hear
if
it
to
as
say,
menacing.
"No, you aren't."
Okay,
I am.
that was my question, because when it comes to, fantasy in general and stories of someone being elevated to godhood, there's two ways that it goes. There is they succeed and get elevated to godhood, or they get smitten, or like they get like destroyed by the actual god saying you stay in your
It
place.
does feel like the word should be smitten, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does.
I feel like it's a very menacing hello.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to say for sure. It's definitely meant to be somewhat open-ended. And the fact that it doesn't exist on the digital or the CD masters, but it very well could have, right? There was nothing stopping them from doing that.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I still can't figure out why it's on one but not on the others, other than just to keep people guessing.
Yeah. As a unique thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's the album.
That's
We've
the
done it.
album.
We've reached the end of the album. If you stuck with us for the whole 2 hours, 7 minutes.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Better than
Yeah.
I expected us.
You two were saying that you were expecting me to drag this out. I've been efficient.
No. Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm putting words in Noah's mouth.
You can put anything you want in my mouth.
I have.
When you download the masters for this album, you get a readme.txt file.
Yes.
Okay.
The readme.txt file has the bootlegger logo. Mm-hmm. And the bootlegger logo is conspicuously similar to the album art for Gumboot Soup,
Interesting.
Okay.
which is our next album.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Gumboot Soup and what we're going to be getting into.
Gumboot Soup is the last of the 5 records that the band put out in 2017. It was promised it was going to be a 5-album year, and so they wanted to make sure they got 5 albums out in that year. It was published on December 31st, 2017. barely in the nick of time.
You know what? As a lifelong procrastinator, that just sinks to my soul.
Stu says that he worked through Christmas to make that happen.
Yep.
And Gumboot Soup is, to my understanding, a record full of rejected tracks from the other projects of 2017, and also perhaps rejected tracks from other work that they won't put out for years.
Yeah,
past that.
Gizcord seems to think that there's some rejected tracks from Changes on here, and Changes doesn't come out for another, 5 years?
5 years, yeah. So I am really excited to see what else they were working on, or what else they thought might have fit on Polygondwanaland, or what else they might have tried to fit onto Flying Microtonal Banana. And it probably isn't going to feel like Polygondwanaland, this super, super composed, very clearly interlinked record that does its own foreshadowing and tells 1 to 3 complete stories, depending on how you want to look at it. But I am still excited to see essentially Oddments Part 2.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's going to be really fun.
Which leaves us with one final question.
What else have you been listening to this week, Noel?
I am so glad you asked. This week, I have listened to 2 things that I thought were interesting. The first was Billy String's album, Highway Prayers. Now,
Great album.
If you're following along with Giz News at this point, you will know that Billy Strings has been spotted in the studio with King Gizzard quite a bit recently. There was recently a photo of him playing a microtonal guitar, and King Giz has said that they're working on bluegrass. So I took that as a sign to maybe dig a little bit deeper into Billy Strings, because I know some of his stuff very well, but I know most of his stuff not at all. So I picked up his newest record, Highway Prayers, and I put that on this week, and that is a solid record of really, really good bluegrass that goes on just a little bit too long.
It is a really long record, but it is a very good, a little too long record.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I wanted to talk about was we revisited Green Day's Dookie.
Hell yeah!
Which, man, that's a record that fucks. And you know what really fucks about that record?
The bass tone?
The fucking bass! Holy shit!
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a record for bass players. That is, I mean, honestly, when I was a kid and I was first starting to learn bass, one of the first songs I picked up was Longview, because that bass line just goes, and it's so much fun. And like, you have to work a little bit to get it, but once you get it, it's so satisfying under the fingers. And so revisiting that record was just a blast from childhood. It was so good. It still holds up just as well as you would hope it would.
I have gone on record to say that I will end up with a P bass within the next 2 years entirely because of the Dookie tone.
Yeah.
I have a bass that I really fucking love, but that bouncy tone from like Longview or Welcome to Paradise is like, I want that. And the only way to get that is with a P bass into an overdrive pedal.
Right.
So I'm going to end up with a P bass within the next 2 years. It's going to happen.
Yeah, and everybody should own a P bass.
Everybody should. Both of you have your own P basses.
It is the multi-tool of bass guitars.
Basically.
Yeah. Emma, what have you been listening to?
I have been listening to a lot of the Mars Volta's D-Louse in the Comatorium.
Yeah, we've talked about that one on the show before, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it is so goddamn good. And the Mars Volta's always been a band that, again, like Giz, people have told me, hey, Emma, you'll really like this. And I find, has a lot of overlap, like, at least singing artistically to like Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
And it's just a damn good album. And there's at least one day in the preparation to this recording where I knew for a fact that I should listen to Polygondwanaland, and I put on D-Louse at the Comatorium instead.
Yeah, of course.
Because I just could not get those songs out of my head.
No, it's such a solid record. I've heard it like 4 times at this point, and I need to go back and listen to it more because they aren't in my head yet, but I really want them to be.
Yeah, and probably within the next week or so, I'm just going to start slowly moving through the rest of Mars Volta's work, because one of the things I didn't know is that they're a Texan band. They're a Chicano band. And
really?
Some of the lyrics are, and some of the song titles are in Spanish, and they do incorporate more Spanish as the band goes on.
That's really cool.
Like one of them, cicatriz ESP. I always just saw it as like the word. I never read it. It's like, oh, cicatriz. I want to say it's like a scar. I don't remember exactly how to translate it, but Yeah, it's all over the place. I want to slowly dive into more Mexican rock, just because I know like the classic stuff. I know my Maná, my Juanes, my Caifanes, but I'm not plugged in with the modern stuff because I grew up in the U.S.
So Mexican rock, not necessarily rock en español.
Yeah. I mean, I want both.
Okay.
And I want to say Juanes is actually from Colombia. No me acuerdo. But like. I want to do both. I want to spend more time with the genre, and yeah, there are some Mexican rock bands
Colombia. Medellin.
Okay, there are some Mexican rock bands that do sing in English.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been mostly that, or when it's not that, it's just me revisiting favorite albums of mine. I've been listening to a lot of Between the Buried and Me again this week because every time I listen to Polygondwanaland, it's like, cool. I want more weird time signatures.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put on Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And sometime in the future, you're going to be listening to Between the Buried and Me and go, I want more weird time signatures.
I'm going to put on
Polygondwanaland.
It's already happened.
It
has already happened.
That's what we love.
Yael, what have you been listening to this week?
All right. So I found this album, yesterday, 2
Yeah.
days ago. And already, my God, I'm going to be listening to this album so much. This is Nested in Tangles by Hannah Francis.
Yes.
Now, I have never heard of Hannah Francis before yesterday. What happened was Apple Music just pushed me a random artist that I had never heard before. I clicked into it. That artist was Robber. And they did some really cool indie rock. And I liked it. The album was called Two Wheels Move the Soul. It literally came out. No, this must have been 2 days ago. I think it was April 3rd. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that album was good. So I'm like, all right, let me check out this band, I guess, see what else is going on. I had never heard of the label that they were on, which is called Fire Talk Records. And so I checked out the label to see, all right, what else do they do? What kind of artists do they sign? And I
still contend that the best way to find new artists is to just go to a label for someone that you love and find out what else is on that label.
Yeah, so I was trying to do that here because I hadn't heard of the artist, I hadn't heard of the label, and none of the artists for this label were anybody I'd heard of before.
Sure.
And one of the recent releases that they were promoting was Hannah Francis's Nested in Tangles from October of last year.
Sure.
And this album is incredible. Holy fuck. It's so good. It is this weird eclectic mix of folk music, jazz, and prog rock.
Sure.
It's got polyrhythms, not polymeter, but polyrhythms. Got soaring vocals. She has such a range. Layered textures with really grounded songwriting. And like when I think of something that's trying to do that many different things with the jazz and the folk and the progressive rock all together, I don't necessarily expect it to work. It's trying to do too much, but having such grounded songwriting really, really helps keep it all cohesive and keeps it all approachable. And I mean, I cannot believe that this had never surfaced for me before. And she is not an artist that seems to get a ton of streams.
No. I looked her up on Last.fm and she's not really doing numbers.
And so this is me telling you, go listen to Hannah Francis, HANNAH FRANCES, Nested in Tangles. Like, seriously, just trust me on this one.
Yeah.
I'll trust you on this one.
And there we go. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll be doing Gumboot Soup, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to say.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks.
Good night.